Einen wunderschönen guten Tag wünsche ich natürlich wieder bei allen zu Hause. Danke fürs Einschalten. Wir sind heute wieder live auf der Daily Dram. Heute eine ganz spezielle Ausgabe. Wir sind heute ein bisschen mehr. Wir haben einen ganz speziellen Gast heute bei uns. Das ist Kirsten Grant. Sie ist die Ururenkeltochter von William Grant, dem Firmengründer unter anderem von Glenfiddich und der Balvenie. Auch zu Gast bei mir heute ist Reinhard Pohorec. Reinhard Pohorec selbst ist ein sehr umtriebiger Kollege von mir, ein sehr, sehr, sehr lieber Freund, Sensory-Experte und Journalist unter anderem. Und dann auch noch den Roland Graf, der Graf himself. Er ist Journalist, Reisen, Getränke sind sein Metier. Und bin sehr, sehr happy, dass wir heute alle hier beisammen sind. Wir werden einen kleinen Talk führen, ein paar Gespräche führen. Für euch zu Hause natürlich herzlich willkommen bei The Spirit Way of Life. Auch die Zuschauer von Falstaff, Liquid Market und auch von Reinhard Pohorec heute mit dabei. Vielen lieben Dank fürs Einschalten. Wenn ihr irgendwelche Fragen habt, natürlich gerne einfach in den Kommentaren schreiben. Ich habe bei mir Falstaff und Spirit Way of Life offen. Reini, wenn du magst, vielleicht deine Seite aufmachen. Falls du Kommentare kommst, dann können wir die gerne an die Kirsten weitergeben. So, sorry, Kirsten, you probably didn't understand nothing of what I just said. I'm just saying, thank you very much for taking your time and coming on the stream and talk a little bit with us about yourself, the history of the company, about heritage, about the whiskies, and of course we're gonna share a drum. And maybe you want to introduce yourself a little bit and
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Kirsten Grant. I'm fifth generation of the William Grant family. So that means William Grant was my great-great-grandfather. We are currently operated by the fifth generation and still 100% owned by the family. So there's myself. I'm currently living in America, but I'm now stuck in London for a bit, unable to go back to the US. And my cousin is currently the chairman, and I have two other cousins on the board, Bertie and Peter. And then we have some sixth generation now working in the company, which is great. I have Matthew, who's just on his way from Shanghai to Singapore, so now stuck in Scotland. And then I have Thomas, who's working in Scotland in the finance team. So yeah, still very much family concern. Quite unusual for a business of this size to still be owned and operated by the family, let alone the founding family. I think we can claim that Alsingl and Farkas, essentially, as the two major distilleries, are still owned and run by the original family. So the business now is quite some size. We export to 180 countries approximately. That seems to be going a little bit up and down at the moment. So, yeah, we have a range of brands. So I'm sure you're all familiar with Hendrick's, Sailor Jerry, Monkey Shoulder, and then today we'll probably be more talking about the Scotches, Glenfiddich and Balvenie, which are the key to our portfolio and the original products. So yeah, it's a fun business. I have a great job. I get to travel the world. I meet such interesting people, and we have great products that we can all be proud of. So we've been in this business 135 years now, and so we've been through 2 world wars. We've been through prohibition. So now is an interesting time for everyone, but we're confident we're going to come out stronger. So yeah, I'm proud of what we do. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Maybe a little bit about Roland and Reini, if you want to tell a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, let the young one start.
Well, I can only say welcome as well. It's an absolute pleasure to be on this call together with you, Kirsten and Roland and Andy, of course. As you probably know, I'm working as a sensory expert and experience designer. So that means I get to create multi-sensory experience concepts for luxury brands, for 5-star hospitality, and different companies in various industries. I'm super curious about everything that evolves around the finer things in life, sensory perception, and how we can make that, like these experiences, memorable, mesmerizing, and meaningful to all the people out there.
Yeah, it's great. It's like gone are the days of buying a drink. You're buying a full experience. It's fantastic what's going on here.
Well, it's a challenging time right now, and this is certainly another push for the digital transformation. But I think having like that mindset of first of all, awesome experiences and creating these and having memorable experiences really lies at the confluence of analog and digital, and we need to find that seamless and fluent amalgamation of these aspects, and the better we can do that, I think the more successful we're going to be in the long term.
In a way, this is great for you because you have people's time and attention like unlimited almost, so you have a lot of airtime.
The virtual space is getting more and more crowded as well. So I've realized there's so many Zoom calls now and so many people doing something online. We also have our virtual lounge meetups called Light 'em Up, and we do fantastic cigar lounge sessions Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Besides, we have keynote speakers, entrepreneurs, and people from the spirits industry. So please have a look at that as well.
Yeah, and I think Roland is the connoisseur. I think he's traveling half of the year, and I think
not now.
not now.
Traveling, from the kitchen to the bathroom. That's about the way I'm going today.
To the store.
But, no, perhaps I'll just use it as a small teaser. As the longer introduction of my person will be done tomorrow, as we will see each other tomorrow in another session of the Daily Dram. So for the moment being, I'll just say, okay, I'm drinks and travel writer, and those who are interested in getting more insights in my personal life and doing, you have to come tomorrow.
There we go. We'll be definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, no clickbait. We have to use.
Kirsten, as you said, you are in 5th generation, and I think one of your cousins is running the company right now.
My cousin Glenn is the chairman. He's non-executive chairman, so running the company might be the wrong term. We have a non-family CEO, Simon Hunt, who runs the company. But we as shareholders of the business, we certainly oversee the major direction and the decisions in the business, the major ones. So it's slightly different for myself and a couple of my cousins because we're in every day. We have management jobs in the business, and we're employees like everyone else. I report into the head of the Americas, so who's non-family, so I'm accountable to him more than anyone.
Because we've talked about this already, and it would be definitely interesting for the people at home to know this. It's not just you're a family member and you get handed a job. So there's a process involved, right? Yeah.
So you being a family member doesn't give you the right to roll in the business, and nobody's expected to go into the business from both sides. So you fundamentally have to show an interest, and then it's considered by what's called the Family Development Committee, which has some family and some non-family on it. And you're evaluated for your skills and what you can bring and what you want to do in the business. And you also must work 7 years outside of the business before you come into the family business, so that you can learn, different ways of doing things, and you can bring a set of eyes and experience that just isn't solely the William Grant's way of doing things. So we go through a rigorous entrance process as well. We have full interviews, and we get assessed for all our psychometric testing and our place if we're there. So it's good because we have, when you get to 6th generation, I have something like 50 shareholders in the business, and so you can't have them all working in the business. It doesn't really work like that. So it's got to be the best for both people too, but both sides. So I came from the liquor distributor in the UK, so
there you go.
Yeah, my cousin, both other cousins are in finance. So.
Okay, and you've obviously worked around different positions, and right now you're actually stationed in the US, right?
Yeah, so I've been in the US for almost 3 years now, and I've worked in New York. Then I went to Los Angeles for 1.5 years, and then I'm currently in Chicago. Except I'm not. I'm in London. I'm living in Chicago at the moment. So and I've done different roles. I've had 5-6 different jobs in the business, and I've been there almost 10 years.
Okay. Zoom is acting up a little bit right now. So, Reini, we have now two of you in the stream. Reini?
It once frozen.
There you go. Yeah, well,
At least one of them is sort of speaking and moving again. Well, you know, in times like these, even the internet is coming to its,
I'll try
to
to
its
get
limits.
Oh yeah, and everyone's on Zoom and House Party and Microsoft Teams and all this Skype, so it wobbles. You know, like 6 o'clock at night, everyone's on. So we've experienced that a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's not going away. So that's fine.
Is already time for questions?
Yeah, of course, please.
Great. I mean, I'm glad I brought my glasses, Kirsten, but behind of you is
Yeah.
that an actual photo of the distillery?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
was that still coal fire at that time?
can we see? I'm in my kitchen. So this one here, okay?
Yeah.
Is oh, there we go. Yeah. So this is if you've ever been to Glenfiddich, you'll recognize that as the courtyard, where you come in for the visitor centre. So this is the coal being delivered to fire the stills. So this would have been pre-50s, this picture, probably early 50s, something like that. And obviously we don't use coal anymore. So we wouldn't see a pile of coal when we went up to the visitor centre these days. And then the picture next to it, if you can see that, this is the stills around about the same time that were still coal fired. You can see all the coal on the floor, and they would just shovel it in underneath the stills. So yeah, as we said, we moved to gas firing. I don't know the exact date, but it was late 50s, early 60s. We moved to gas, which was pretty much what most of the distilleries did in terms of new regulations around burning coal and efficiencies, and the efficiencies of gas and limitations of coal. So yeah, so we're still direct firing until they say 2019. Some of the processes changed again, but I'm not an expert on this. But we still have liquid that we can taste and sell, like very limited, that was originally coal-fired.
Yeah. And the first single malt that you released with single malt on the label was 63, I think?
Yes, 63.
Probably that also still came from the coal-fired.
Yes, it would have done, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. So there's debates around
in the kitchen.
Yeah, well, we sometimes debate with people whether it made a difference, coal or gas, and there'll be people who tell you it did, but I really don't know. I can't tell you myself. I have no idea. But it's like everything, people on one side, people on the other. I'm sure it was a cleaner place after they replaced all the coal with gas.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah, I've seen the kiln room down where the heaters are.
Yeah.
The ovens, they're still anthracite, I think.
There's some of that stuff.
But yeah, it's dirty down there.
Oh yeah. So imagine what it was like before.
And then you need the coal to fire, I don't know, close to 50 stills. That's a lot of coal.
Yeah, I can imagine. So that's really why a lot of the success of Speyside was down to the Speyside Railway and being able to get the coal up to Speyside and then get this product back out again. So if it wasn't for the railway, in a lot of ways, the Scottish whisky industry wouldn't be anywhere near as successful as it is to this day. So it's an interesting walk. You can walk the Speyside Railway now.
Really? Nice.
Yeah. Then you stop at lots of old stations that are some are derelict and some have been made into offices for campsites or cafes and things. It's really interesting.
That's something for the next visit.
Yeah, it takes a few days. So I think there's a few programs, a few people have done it.
Sorry, no, I'm just, somebody walked into the room. No.
And this picture here, you can see is it's an old Rolls Royce. We think it was Uncle John driving. We're not 100% sure. But that if you've ever been to Balvenie to Torrin House, that's the road back down past the warehouses back to Glenfiddich. So we found these pictures in the archives, and I got Andy Fairgrave, who's looks after the artists in residence in the archives, to send me copies, and I just blew them up and put them up in my kitchen, along with, this is my wall of Scotland, so you have pictures of Edinburgh and the distillery and stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah, if you go to the house, the malt kiln house, they have some of these pictures up too.
Yeah, I've seen that already live when I've been there a few times now at the distillery, and it's still mesmerizing. It's a beautiful place. If you walk.
Yeah, I was there just when we closed to visitors, so I was like the last visit we had. We were launching. We did some 50-year-old to some travel, American travel journalists, and I was there for that. And then we had a couple of private clients up, and then that was it. There was like nobody else, no other visitors. The doors were shut, and we were the last ones out. And it's quite eerie, you know. It was weird sitting in our restaurant with nobody there. Normally, it's crazy that everyone's doing busy stuff, and the people and
the whole restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was odd. Yeah.
But can you also say what is happening production-wise now? You're talking about the visitor center, which is obviously closed, but production-wise, are you cutting down? Are you stopping? Are you continuing?
No, we're still going. So some people stopped, and then Edrington had stopped, but they're going to restart, I believe, along with Invergordon, I think it was, North British. But we didn't stop. What we have done is switched over to make hand sanitizer. So using the ethanol. So we are making and selling at cost price over the next 8 weeks 5 million litres of ethanol for hand sanitizer. So the price in the market, I was talking to a guy this morning, the price in the market has gone up 5 times. But so we've agreed to sell at cost, but then the people that make the sanitizer must give us back 10%, and we'll give that out to local business, like the hospitals and the police and everything that are near the sites. And then if we do make any profit, that goes back into the charities. So, it's a profit neutral thing for us, but we have the capability to do it. So 100% we want to do it. So we've been making, first of all, we sold that ethanol. Now we're actually bottling sanitizer in our Girvan plant. So, yeah. And then we are still producing. The producing is not the big issue. It's bottling is the bigger issue because of the social distancing. So we're at probably 50%. Because we have to shut every second line, and to keep people safe. And we've gone back and forth with the government and the trade unions about this, and they seem kind of happy with what we're doing. So we asked the staff, what do you want to do? And they're like, we want to keep working. So great, you just want a solution for everyone, and being able to help out as well, because we are the largest Scottish producer in Scotland, so it is our duty to provide ethanol. So we're happy about that.
I think a lot of.
So yeah, it's an interesting place, but it's kind of eerie. I haven't been, obviously, but I've been watching it all.
Yeah, but that's all happening in Girvan, so in south of Scotland.
Well, we're making ethanol. We're making alcohol for sanitizer in Girvan and in Dufftown and SVP, and also over in Tuttletown at Hudson Distillery. Yeah, so that was the first people to do it because it's much smaller and much easier to adapt everything there to be able to make it. So that we're just basically supplying the local hospitals and the care homes round in Gartner, Tuttletown, just round there. So we're making no Hudson at the moment. So yeah.
I'm actually gonna for that. I think there seems to be a cheers in place. Thank you to William Grant for doing these kind of things and supporting. So I'll have a Glenfiddich 21 in my hand to cheer also with you guys at home. If you have a dram at home, anything you have, if you want to cheer with a glass of water, it doesn't matter. Raise your glass and cheers to all of you.
Cheers.
Love you.
A little fun fact in the meantime, yesterday I went to the supermarket and they have some hand sanitizer there, of course. And as soon as I sprayed some on my hand, I smelled it and I was like, that's not your normal hand sanitizer. And it was clearly a very distinctive, characterful grain.
eau de vie. Yeah, like a grain one. Yeah.
Yes. So it was clearly distinctable that this has been like probably an eau de vie producer or some master distiller here in Austria who was switching his production from regular eau de vie production to high proof alcohol. Clearly,
it's quite the stuff we're making is liquidy as well, you know, and obviously we're not going to put coloring in it because there's no we don't care about building this as a brand, you know, so it's clear and it's a bit less jellified basically, so you know, as long as it works we don't care. You just need to keep the alcohol over 60% and then you have to add some things into it. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, exactly.
At least it's like going back to prohibition times for medicinal purpose only, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you, I found when in the archives once, there was an old Grant's bottle in it, and it just looked like a Hendrix bottle basically, and it had on the back for family use and medicinal purposes. So yeah. The doctors were prescribing whiskey, but you know, prohibition is an interesting topic at the moment because you know they've banned the sale of alcohol in South Africa, Greenland, and Thailand. And I've been reading all about this, about you know the problems that this ultimately might cause in lots of different ways. You know, and they're talking about the speakeasy, you know, and you know there's a few bars operating. You know, there's no doubt about that. So I'm sure in the back door.
Well, for medicinal purpose, I think back in the Prohibition time, I think the US made that law that for whiskey to be a prescription, just for Winston Churchill, because he had one of those prescriptions. So every time he went to the US, he could bring his whiskey. Quite interesting.
Yeah, well, we the legend says that, you know, we operated all the way through Prohibition and overnight our biggest market became Canada.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go, yeah. Yeah, we'll never know for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But also you have, I think you showed us earlier, your bottle that you have with you.
Oh, so, yeah.
That's also not.
Okay, so this is, you can see Glenfiddich 26, but you notice there's no foot label. So my cousin, and because we're Scottish too, we take a lot of the rejected packs from Quality and we gift them to the family for Christmas. So all the family have the ones with the labels not on or squint or the wrong cap or something like that. Well, it's fine as long as the liquid's fine. So, you know, it's too much trouble to put it back down the line and just fix one little bit for one bottle. So we collect it up and we give it away. So if people are coming around to my house going, what's this? Well, not worry.
That's a really nice reject, though, with 26 years of age.
Yes, I'm quite happy for that. Thanks very much. One of my cousins was here. Sorry?
It's a better gift than a tie for Christmas.
Oh, well, you know, my cousin, the chairman's son, he was here, Matthew, was staying with me before he went to the distillery before all this. And he said, what's that? He said, I never got that. I said, oh, well, you know, there's a pecking order. Labelless 26. I'm happy with that.
I would be too.
Yeah.
I'm drinking. We were talking. What's my brother? We were talking about this earlier. I'm drinking a Boulevardier with this discarded, which we've been making. Don't know. I'm just talking to Roland about it. So it's sweet Cascara vermouth. And it was created by Joe Petch, who's the global Monkey Shoulder brand ambassador, and he basically made it in his own kitchen and then came to the company. So we've turned that into a product now, and discarded will be a range. We've done a banana skin rum-based product, which I haven't tried yet actually. So we're just testing that in London, and it's for sale and online. I've just seen it on Master of Malt, Whisky Exchange, some of these guys, the independent retail. So I made the Monkey Shoulder and discarded. It's very good. Fun product.
There you go. I mean, there's
hot topic, sustainability.
Definitely, and there's lots of, I think, products down the line which we'll hopefully sometime see in the rest of Europe as well. There's a non-alcoholic
I think UK
spirit.
tends to be the test market because it's the home market, and it's just much easier for us to. You get a really interesting read. You're able to compare. So yeah, this is doing quite well. I mean, it's really, we want to focus on the on-premise with this. So a little bit of retail, but it's really an on-premise product.
Because I know there has been an absinthe from Hendrix.
Yeah. It's so little production though. I tried it when I was at Hendrix last September, but it's like, I'm saying 10 cases for the US.
Yeah, I think they produced 5,000 bottles in total.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So again, we're not doing that for profit. It's kind of for fun in a way. See what happens. If people love it, maybe we can make some more. But just playing around. It's fun.
Yeah, and that's the liberty of having having a family-run company, where you can just do these kind of things.
Yeah, we like to experiment. People know that about us. You can see with some of the things that we do. And if it doesn't work, we don't get upset, move on to the next thing. So yeah, but luckily a lot of it does.
Yeah, we were actually scheduled to go to the Hendrix, to the Gin Palace, 3 weeks ago. And yeah, unfortunately, or 2 weeks ago. So we'll follow up on that next year, hopefully.
Yeah, getting quick because you know how busy it is, and there's going to be a backlog.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
We're not even open to the public.
Yeah. Other than Glenfiddich, I mean, if you open up again, just for you guys at home, if you're ever in Scotland, in Speyside, and you want to go visit the distilleries, once everything hopefully goes back to normal quite soon, Glenfiddich is open 7 days a week, 365 a year. So go there, take a tour.
360, I think, not Christmas Day.
Okay.
Not New Year's Day, because it wouldn't be much fun for the
and if you want to go visit Balvenie, you gotta book a tour in advance. So there's only 1 tour a day, or maybe 2.
I think that we're doing 2 now, and we're trying to, because the demand is so high, we're trying to do more weekends now and things, but it takes a bit of logistics. So.
But Balvenie is definitely a very, very exciting tour. It's quite long. You get to see the maltings and the cooperage.
Yeah, it's best to go if you're interested in the cooperage, to go during the week. It's not open at the weekends, but it's a really fascinating part of the business.
Yeah, definitely. I can attest to that. Have you guys been in the cooperage?
Yeah. Speyside, yeah.
I went to Speyside Cooperage as well. Seen plenty of them in France. So yeah, quite a few.
Yeah,
it's unimaginable.
It's a fascinating process.
Always. And just the love and care that goes into assembling these pieces of wood, and when you consider how long these all these staves and the trees themselves, like all the history they had, to finally come up with that cask, which will take another 10, 15, 20 years to hold that beautiful distillate, in order to have something like your bottle of 26-year-old. I mean, there's like a century of history going into that bottle, and that's what really intrigues me and fascinates me. Makes me grateful and humble for the product.
Good, great. We're doing something right.
Yeah, I've seen the cask from I think it was one from 1956 and 57. I think there's a couple of them lying around, and that's even longer. So you have. So
we found a cask from 1926, I think it was. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. And we found it, and Dennis McBain was there, and Ian McDonald, I think David Stewart was there, and they're all standing around, and my cousin Peter was there, and they're like, what are we going to do with this, right? And they're like, okay, we'll move it. We need to move it, So they started to move it, and the whole thing just fell apart. So I got on the floor. Oh, that was good. I was almost crying, But it's been there since 1926. It was like way at the back underneath something, and they're like, holy, this could be really good. And then,
oh no.
It's like, maybe you should have thought harder about trying to move it, boys, Licking the dirt floor.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah.
that's heartbreaking,
Anyway.
actually.
Yeah, it's life, you know.
Because it's not only about the history, but also a value to it as well.
Oh yeah. I don't know what we would have done with it. I'm not sure really. Probably would have just kept it for we wouldn't have sold it off. It's just too complicated, and we would have kept it for people to try, you know, for interest, you know, for good guests to the distillery. It would have been fun. That's what we would have done had they not had it disintegrate in front of them.
I think what's for people at home might be interesting to know is how can a cask get lost or kind of forgotten? Because if somebody thinks, oh, there's a warehouse and you can go through and you see every
That's
single
so
cask.
easy though. Yeah,
But
that's easy.
I think people don't know how many casks there are in Speyside at the distillery side.
I don't know what's in Speyside. Roland might know better than me, but we have 3.5 million casks at William Grant's. So we have 2.3 million maybe in Garvin and the rest in Dufftown. So you got over 1 million casks on one site. And if you think about it, warehouse management systems, barcoding, all this stuff did not exist, you know. So it's really easy for things to just be built on and built on and built on. And, you know, when things are quite old, they just used to chalk them or whatever. You forget all that. That went years ago. So there is a fair bit of stuff. We've got a job to work out exactly what it is. You know, you can get somewhere near it, but, you know, some of it you won't be able to ever tell. So you can't sell it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how, my cousin will tell you the ins and outs of all this, but, you know, it makes complete sense. You know, it would take somebody a long time to go around and re-log every single cask, you know. So there's a certain period of time where we would have brought in some kind of electronic warehouse management, which would have been pretty basic. And then now you've got like a full system, you scan it, basically. That's not been going on for that many years, to be honest. So it's probably a lot more simply done than everyone thinks. Every now and again we see a cask on the market, not very often with Glenfiddich, but you do see and we're thinking, where did that come from? Oh, I was gifted it by, I was like, no, you didn't. It's like, well, there's a way you were gifted that. Yeah, moving on, you know.
Well,
life, isn't it?
You never know, right?
So if we're talking history, Kirsten, what is the opinion of you personally on that kind of race that's going on nowadays to come up with 100-year-old whiskey? You know, everyone is pushing the boundaries, looking for something that's 62, 64-ish.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. I mean, flavor-wise, it won't make sense. But as a company...
My opinion, if we could do it and it was nice, we could do it. We would do it. If we haven't done it, there's a reason that we haven't done it. I mean, we're lucky. We've got quite a lot of old stock. A race for 100, I'm not sure. I haven't been involved in any of that. But I know there's the race for the oldest, but I think it would be a bit interesting, the liquid.
No, I don't think flavor-wise it would make sense.
It would just be like chewing wood and a bit sludgy.
Extra year and make it more, just pushing it closer to 100.
Yeah. I think that's it's fun, but it's not necessarily going to be the best.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I've tried a Balvenie 50, and I can say it's good.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I said some of the Glenfiddich 50 that's coming out. Was meant to be out in September, but it's not coming out. We cancelled that launch now. It'll come out next year. It was really nice, really interesting. Great new pack coming as well. So we're going to do on-premise only with that for a couple of years.
Yeah, so, when I was last time there in November, I was working with Charlie, and we were at Balvenie Warehouse 24, and there is a Balvenie cask in there from 1967, and it's still more than half full.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
and the ABV is still above 50.
did you dip it?
No, it didn't let me.
No.
It was full, but Andy arrived. It was half full, but it left.
Yeah.
So that might be a
I
cask
shouldn't say
that can.
that, but Ian Miller and I have done bad things like that before. And then we got into trouble, and then we found a different way to do it.
Well, Copper Dog.
Yeah, well, we have to be quicker than that.
Yeah, it would be definitely interesting to see what's going to happen with that cask.
Yeah,
how long it's
well,
gonna-
there's lots of really interesting things. You go into Warehouse 8, there's some stuff. It's all Glenfiddich up there, but you have a good look at some of that stuff, and that's the experimental warehouse. It's fascinating what's in there, and you have to kind of look twice at some of it. You know, what are these tiny little casks? And we have casks buried under the ground in there just to see what would happen. You know, you can't sell it. It's not whiskey, it's illegal. The process that we've gone through, and we've got triangle casks in there just to see what would happen. We've got all sorts of weird stuff. But, you know, that's just for Brian to see and the guys. What happens if you do something different? So
Definitely a good approach.
yeah, it's fun. All the casks of dreams are in there, and a lot of bartender casks and things. Yeah. The family casks.
So Warehouse 8, did you say?
24. Sorry, no, 8. Yeah, no, 8 for Glenfiddich. Yeah, Warehouse 8. Ian Miller's playground. Get him to take you out there. Yeah, where the Solera vats are.
Ah, okay, there. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen
Yeah.
the small casks.
See
in
there,
there.
when you walk down, start looking to the right at some of that stuff, and start asking some questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and behind you there's some 18 big 18 marrying tons, and behind that there's some weird stuff as well. It's not a secret, it's just there. No, otherwise we wouldn't tell you.
Yeah. Because Struan told me that, you know, there's mezcal and tequila casks somewhere to experiment with.
Yeah, we have tequila casks in here.
Which now I think are included, right? They're allowed now.
Yeah, tequila is. I don't know about mezcal casks. I'm not sure, but tequila, yeah, I think there's been some tequila releases already.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, somebody's done it. Yeah, recently.
The Simpsons, right?
Yeah. So I have another. I'm doing a 2-hour session tonight,
There you go.
midnight UK time, and so 7 o'clock Florida time. So myself and George Grant from Glenfarclas are talking to the Corona, Jeff from the Corona Cigar Bar in Florida. So
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah. So even if
2
we're
hours, I was like, and we've got 2,500 people
really,
logging in. Yeah.
wow.
For 2 hours. And by that point, George and I will just be talking rubbish. You know, it's midnight. And we normally talk rubbish to each other anyway. I was like, Jeff, are you sure this is a really good idea? He's like, oh, it'll be fine.
Oh wow. No, 2 hours at midnight.
Uh-huh.
Depends on what you had before.
Well, yeah, this will probably be my last one until about 11:30. Otherwise, it's not going to go well.
Oh yeah. Well, Rani, do you have a show tonight as well?
No, tonight, Thursday is a day off. I have a couple of meetings that I need to go through, but tonight is no light 'em up session. We're back live tomorrow evening with a special Bovida raffle and a Bovida session with Sean and Tim, the founding members, and Rob Gagne, who's doing all the Box Press podcast for Bovida. And we have a goodie package to give away. It's going to be a beautiful session. And then on Sunday, we will do La Flor Dominicana, also a wonderful session with the founder. So yeah, plenty of great things in the agenda. And tomorrow we also have a regional edition in the afternoon at 4 with Sam Reuter and myself. So we're doing a Davidoff session with Churchill late hour. And we will do a special whiskey pairing and also bring bring some whiskey knowledge on board. We will have an Austrian master distiller in this case joining us.
Nice. It's great that you're doing all this stuff, you know?
Well, I said, like, early into this crisis, I realized we got to do something for the cigar community and for the hospitality community. We got to bring people together. And even though you could have your food delivered and your drinks delivered, this is what we're all craving for and we're all yearning for. It's great conversation and social interaction, get to meet other people and really having that opportunity and bringing all the connoisseurs and apasionados and the epicures and bon vivants together. And even such a virtual setting is just a wonderful opportunity, I think.
And people have a bit more time to sit and say, you know what, good, I can do like 3 or 4 of these in one day, one in Austria, one in America, one in the UK, you know, you can do that. And now I've never done that before.
No,
great.
Me neither. And I think a lot of people have not done that before. And in one way, you know, you can do now a session in your private home where you're very comfortable, but still have people from all over the world talking to you talking to them, and just bonding over the same passions and
I wonder whether the next question for debate is, how will this experience change life? In terms of, you know, what will it make people question? What kind of behaviors will change, you know, or adjust or whatever? It's just really interesting to see what's going to happen. You know, a lot more online meetings because people understand that it's fine to do it like that. So maybe a lot less traveling to a meeting. And all these platforms are so well built now that but then at the risk of nobody ever going face to face again, you know. So, there's a converse to that. But
especially for the hospitality industry, that's going to be a big challenge. Like international travels, and that's what a lot of bars and hotels really need to keep up their business, right? Yeah.
And that'll be interesting. Who, you know, different countries will open up at different times, all this stuff, you know, and then there's legacy things and that, you know, it's just a minefield. So.
Yeah, tourism is.
That's something I was actually curious to know. Did you see a drastic shift, because you mentioned on-trade before, from on-trade towards the off-trade?
So we've not made it up, but, you know, so we're still behind, but the off-trade is well ahead of where it would have been normally.
Right.
But, you know, the stat for America is the off-trade needs to be running at 22% higher than you would have run to begin to make up your on-premise, your on-trade numbers. But that's not quite happening. You obviously got the spike, you know, the pantry filling stuff. That started to level off now. But there's big debates. Are people actually drinking more? Maybe, I'm not sure, but, you know, it's definitely. I talked to the off-premise guy from Illinois yesterday, and he said, yeah, we're having a great time. But, you know, what's going to happen is the pipe fill coming through, because people have been not bottling and things. So, you know, eventually some sort of supply will be impacted, and if it's like SKU size or, you know, whatever it is, because if you bottle at 50% and you're bottling to forecast, at some point your supply is going to start changing a bit. So, you know, I'm just speculating. I mean, that's a given, but I don't. Every company's different. But, you know, you look at things in Mexico. Are they going to make beer? Or they're not going to make beer? You know, it's just change every day. This stuff changes. So. But yeah, we definitely see. But there's other factors to this which affect the business more than, you know. There's so many other factors.
Yeah. For in Austria, we do see a decline. Yeah.
Overall, of course, you'll see a decline because there's opportunistic things, and, you know, people, if they go out to a restaurant or bar, they're unlikely to drink as much as home. Maybe if they went out partying, you know. Yeah. Depends. But.
Definitely depends on that.
Yeah. And then there's the converse. Some people are just going for it. So, I don't know. But it's certainly interesting times.
Yeah, well, we've all talked to friends, and I think most of them are like me, you don't drink at home or drink less than usual. But
Yeah.
there are some that I've talked to, a good friend of mine is like, they usually before this didn't drink much, and I said, I've been drinking more these days.
I
Because
never drank spirits at home really, just a little bit of wine, and now I'm at home Hendrix because I'm doing a lot of this kind of stuff. So I'm not really drinking wine at home now.
yeah. All right, I think we're at the at time right now. Um, any of you guys still have any questions still for Kirsten?
No.
You've both listened to me for long enough. Many
It was
times.
enlightening, every single word.
Thanks, Roland.
Well then, I raise my glass again. Kirsten, thank you very much for taking your time
Thanks for having me.
having a chat with us. Reini, Roland, thank you also for joining me.
Already empty.
There we go. So we've perfect time set.
Time to get on another Zoom.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Cheers to you. All the very best. Take care.
Bye. Keep
Bye.
well.
For you guys at
Bye.
home, thank you also for watching again. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be talking with Roland a little bit about his travels and what the life of a travel and spirits journalist looks like. So will be interesting to get an insight to that. And weekend we'll do cocktails again. And next week we'll have some guests too. Struan from Glenfiddich, Global Brand Ambassador, will be joining me. Also, Markus Heinze will be on, and Ewald Stromer. Looking forward to that. We'll see you back tomorrow. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.